I have extremely good news for you. 5D Earth is here. We won the fight. It's over. The only thing left for us to do now is to transfer over to the new higher frequency 5D world. The question is, how do we make this transfer? So we're going to get into that right now. So the path to 5D is now open for everybody. There are 2 Earths in existence right now. So this is what we've been hearing was going to happen. We have been hearing this idea that there's going to be 2 Earths and that they're going to be occupying the same space. And that is exactly what's happening right now. I know because I'm experiencing it. I'm living, continuously expanding into living into my perfect 5D world. And yet I can also see that the other 3D Earth still exists and people are trapped in that. And I can see that. I can see that people are trapped in it. I know the way out, but a lot of people don't. So we're right now in that spot where these 2 Earths are living simultaneously in the same space, but that is going to change. So the 2D Earth is external right now, and the 5D Earth is internal. And that is an experience. So people who are living in what we can call 3D or 2D Earth, I don't really care, these are just terms. But we're talking about the prison matrix. The people who are living in the prison matrix, they are living in this external experience of the 3rd dimension, which is trapping them in fear, in disease, in poverty, misery, anxiety. That is, if you look externally, you can see that. The 5D world, the world of freedom, of joy, of higher frequency bliss and spiritual awakening, that right now exists and it is internal. So what does that mean? That is not going to, it's not going to stay that way, because that's how these 2 Earths are staying in the same spot. But again, things are beginning to change, and watch, they will continue to change very rapidly. So the 3D, 5D split has begun and it will increase. So you can see this now in the way people think and how people are experiencing life. I'm experiencing life right now. Everything that is being told to us about what we cannot do and all of the negative things that are supposed to happen if you don't live according to the rules, I am breaking all those rules and none of those negative things are happening to me. So that is interesting to experience, and that is a shift, that's a break. It means I'm living in a different reality. The only people who are trapped by that reality are the ones that choose to live it. So right now it sounds like all I'm talking about is it's a mindset, and it starts with that. But it's going to turn into something else. But we have to start with accessing our internal reality, as opposed to what 3D matrix is that you get your internal feeling of identity and safety from the external world. Your reputation, your identity. You are judged by how much money you have, by how you look, by your digital ID card, by what is going on your TikTok account or your Instagram or your Facebook. How many views you're getting and how many people see you. So everything is based on what's outside of you, not on what's inside of you. So this 3D, 5D split has begun, will increase. Humans who worship fear maintain the 3D Earth. They violently maintained it. And it's not so much that you worship fear. it's that you trust it. So I'm here to tell you that living in this 5D world of bliss and joy and living freedom and only living your desires, that comes from having trust. You must take actions based in trust that the universe, the truth, the spirit, God, whatever word you want to use, that you trust that this energy will take care of you. Now, trust is not something that is a feeling. Most people want to have this feeling. They want to feel, this is what you've been programmed to do. This is why people go after money and riches. Because when they get a lot of money and they put it in their bank, it gives them a false feeling of security. And they think now they can trust. But what you're really trusting in is fear. Fear is the program behind greed, behind insecurity, behind attachment, behind seeking things outside of you. It starts with fear. And you have been programmed to trust that your fear will protect you and take care of you. That's a whole other video. I won't get into it. Trusting that you are loved and trusting that your value lies merely in the fact that you consciously exist, and trusting that the universe, the spirit, will continue to provide you with all of your physical, mental, psychological, and spiritual needs every day based on your needs. That is trust, and that has to be learned. So the thing is that shame and fear are things that you are taught. But once you are programmed with them, you trust them, just like you trust a friend or a parent. So learning how to trust in the energy, the spirit, to take care of you every single day without having to amass a bunch of stuff, that trust has to be relearned. You were born with it. It's innate, but it was programmed out of you through fear and shame. So those things you have to unlearn, that's a program you're going to have to work to disconnect. But learning how to trust is very easy. In fact, it takes no effort. It takes no effort at all. The only effort now that's involved in trusting is not listening to the fear program. So you have to relearn trusting in the universe. That means not knowing where your next paycheck is going to come from, where your rent's going to come from, where your food is going to come from. Not knowing where that's going to come from, but knowing that it's going to come. And the reason why you know it's going to come is because you are connected to your soul and you are following it. All right, so humans who worship fear, really humans who trust fear, are maintaining the third dimensional earth. The seed people who imagine 5D earth manifested. Now, where did that phrase come from? So in the New Age community, there's this term star seeds. Now, I've made fun of this for a very long time, but I recently came across a Taoist prophecy. So you may not know this, but 2,000 years ago, Taoists, the Taoist religion, the original Chinese shamanic religion, where you find Qigong, energy work, where Zen meditation, Chan meditation actually comes from. The Buddhists borrowed it from Taoism, emptiness meditation. The Taoists had a prophecy that there was going to come a time when the earth was going to get so bad that there were going to be plagues, that there were going to be earthquakes, that there were going to be tidal waves, that there were going to be floods and fires. Need I say more? And that society would become incredibly corrupt. Does that sound like any world you're aware of? They said at this time, that there would be people that were called seed people, meaning that the people themselves were like seeds that you plant in the ground. You plant in the ground and they grow into large trees. So these seed people were going to be the souls who came to earth specifically to begin manifesting and creating this new world. And they actually talked about this world that we call 5D Earth, which was a new earth, a new actual physical earth that was based on equality and spirituality and love, joy, bliss, compassion, empathy, and that the seed people who were the ones who planted the frequency of this new world, they would become the rulers of this new earth. And of course, that looks very different than the rulers that are here today. So this, I believe, is what is happening. And the people who are seeking to connect to a new reality, who have seen it, who have experienced it, or who know in their heart that this is coming, you're a seed, one of the seed people. So seed people who imagine the 5D earth will manifest it. So this is important. I know from experience it can be very challenging putting together all of the experiences, the intuitions, and the things out there that are being told. A lot of it is false. Some of it is half-truths. A lot of it is actual truth that hasn't happened yet. But the truth is far more fantastical than we could have possibly imagined. And so I got off track here. What was I talking about? We're talking about seed people. Seed people who imagine 5D Earth will manifest it. So I was somebody who at first did not believe in the solar flash event. And then, as a result of my communications with higher dimensional beings, with extraterrestrials, because of my astral travels throughout the multiverse, I had visions and I became aware that there was going to be a new world that would result, that would come as a result of a shift in people's thinking. Now, I was not told that there was going to be an instantaneous, earth shift. So I didn't know how it happened. And I came across this idea of the solar flash, and I then went, oh, maybe that's what it is. So before I learned about the solar flash, I went into meditation after I had this vision that was given to me by higher dimensional beings. And I reached out to them in meditation and I said, what is this shift going to be? I mean, how is it that this consciousness shift is going to hit Earth? What is going to happen? I said, is it going to be because there's going to be a fleet of extraterrestrial higher dimensional spaceships that are going to come? Because that's what I was experiencing, and I thought that's what's going to happen to everybody else. And the answer was no. The shift will come as a result of a series of solar waves of love that are going to hit the Earth, penetrate into the Earth, shift everything up, and awaken people to a new world. So I then gravitated towards the solar flash event because that's what people, had already been talking about, and that was the closest thing to what I interpreted coming from the light beings. But it turns out that I don't think that's what's going to happen. I'm okay if it does. Nobody will be happier than I if there's an instantaneous flash and we all shift up. But that's very passive, and I've come to find out this is not a passive shift. We are the ones that have to work with it. We actually are the ones that are creating it. We have to cooperate with it. So the seed people are going to be the people who imagine the new world. So there are people, and I've run into this a lot, people who have had these visions. And a lot of the visions are very similar. Visions of people living on a planet Earth that is very similar to this one. It's the same one, except for some reason, most of the people are gone. The people who are here live in communities, are very supportive. There's no more banks, there's no more military, there's no more government. People are able to connect with themselves. They become very spiritual. And this is something that people have seen. I've seen this. I was shown this in one of the most recent live guided interdimensional meditations. We do these every Wednesday and Saturday live streamed on this channel. We did one of those, and I was an ET light being took me and said, we're going to show you where Earth is going to go. I didn't know how we got to this, but it was very clear that that's what was going to happen. And in this new world, what I saw were there were people who were living in smaller communities. There was a lot of like empty plains and grass and earth and lots of plants, and it was a very different Earth. But there were modern people who were no longer living in that modern world, and they would come together in groups and they would support each other because they were healing, they were detoxing, they were deprogramming themselves from the Matrix program. And they were talking about how horrible it was and how wonderful this new world is. And people were very supportive of each other. And it's very similar to visions other people have had. So how does that come about? Well, I believe I have an understanding of how that comes about. It comes about because the seed people begin going inward, and in their imagination and in meditation, they begin to create a completely, totally fantastical, magical world, like a little kid. The kind of world that is in fantasies only. Unbelievable to that we wouldn't consider to be real because it's just too fantastical. This is what the seed people do. So seed people will imagine the 5D Earth, and this will begin manifesting it. I'm telling you, this is what's happening. I know that I'm experiencing it. I've just gone through a shift where I sat myself down and I decided what it is I really wanted, again, as I've done many times before. And I came to the realization that what I wanted didn't exist. But my body was telling me that it really loved the idea of what I was imagining. So I started telling myself that it existed. And that, along with working with one of the energy hack higher dimensional exercises, which I'll talk about later, working with those energy hacks, I actually created that world. So literally within a few days, the world completely shifted. From my perspective, and the things that I wanted that didn't exist all of a sudden not only existed, but then I started hearing that people were going to start creating it. That literally within the next year to year and a half in this country, people are going to start building the things I imagined in my fantasy. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so the 5D Earth will not appear after disclosure of elites. So this is something I've come to realize. So if you've been following my channel, starting in June of 2022 is when I had massive awakening experiences. It almost killed me, where I was physically and astrally, telepathically interacting and communicating with beings from higher dimensions. We call them extraterrestrials. By the way, they don't abduct. Those are humans pretending to be ETs trying to keep you frightened. Real ETs are higher dimensional beings. And their power is beyond anything that we have, because they're not part of our third dimension. They're in higher dimensions. And working with those beings, they completely rewired me and changed me, and it's still happening. And how did I get on that subject? Oh, so I started to believe, in fact, light beings, they asked me, they said, what should we do next? How should the world shift? And I said, the first thing that needs to happen, and I basically said that the elites need to be exposed. Now, my assumption was that if we expose the elites, everybody will wake up and then they'll destroy the matrix. But an interesting thing has happened. The elites have been exposed, and they're becoming more exposed every day. But think about the people who got the pfft and the people who still think that the pfft was a good idea. Even though they now know that it wasn't, that it didn't work, and it actually made things worse. You would think that the realization, that the time that has gone by that has proven to them that, the naysayers were right, you would think that that would create an awakening and awareness, and you would think there would be this outpouring of rage towards what the elites did to them. And that's not what's happening. There are people that are getting and continuing to get more. And it's because they are addicted to the fear. They trust the fear. And so they will do things that don't make sense in order to stay in what they understand, what makes them feel safe. So I've come to realize that the sudden disclosure of the elites is not going to bring the new world or the awakening, because that has already happened. Anybody who pays any attention will see exactly what is going on. That doesn't mean there isn't more that's going to come to the surface, but it's all out there. For one example, we've got Dr. Stephen Greer's website where he has thousands and thousands and thousands of documents. He has thousands of whistleblowers that are telling the truth about the 0-point energy discoveries, the truth about fake military abductions, the truth about what we would call, the elites, the matrix. There's proof of it. And anybody can go see it and read it. And yet nobody is. Nobody seems to care. It's because the awakening has to happen within each person. It can't be, even if you give it to them, they will either not see it or reject it. So 5D will not appear after the disclosure of elites. Disclosure, when it actually happens, will be evidence of 5D manifestation. So as we continue to transfer over into the new 5D frequency, because that's a process, as we continue to do that, the evidence, the symptom that we have actually achieved that is there will be this massive disclosure. That is, it's just symptom. People are going to finally awaken and look at what's right in front of them, and then they're going to accept it en masse. That's how it's. So the point I'm trying to make is that the fight is over. We don't need to keep fighting against the elites to destroy them or to expose them. We don't need to do that anymore. That fight is over. That shift has already happened. We did that. Those of us, when we were doing the live guided meditations a couple of years ago, you remember what happened. Anyway, I won't get into it, but we did that. We energetically broke their control. And their control has been disintegrating ever since. So that fight is over. Now what is going on is in the astral realm, the new world is being created. And so now we have to begin moving into it. And there will be a time, which is starting right now, where there will be people who are living 100% in the third dimensional fear prison matrix. And alongside of them, there will be the seed people who will be living free in freedom and beauty and love, and their world is going to begin to spread. The third dimensional prison matrix is going to begin to get smaller and smaller until those two worlds completely come apart. So I don't know how that happens, but I know that it happens because at some point we get to the world where a large number of people, a half to 3/4 of them are gone. They're not here. And the people that are here are the ones that are awakening and creating this new beautiful 5D world. I've seen it. I know it's going to happen. And it's going to happen perhaps within our lifetimes. But it's definitely going to happen soon because there are going to be people who will remember, who will have lived in it, and they will need to detox from it. But how do we get this ball rolling? It starts internally. We'll talk more about that. So 5D already exists and will spread across the earth as seed people envision 5D and act towards it. That last portion of the sentence is the most important one. It's the most difficult one, and it is the most crucial one. That is, envisioning 5D and acting towards it. There's no shortage of people who can talk about what 5D is. Getting them to act towards it, that's very difficult. So we have to get out of the Abrahamic religion that keeps you stuck in your intellect. What do I mean by that? Believe in Jesus and you shall be saved. Believe in the Bible. Trust in Jehovah. These are intellectual things. The idea that if you have a feeling or a belief that your belief will save you, unfortunately, is absolutely wrong. You start with an internal experience, which could be a belief, which could be a feeling. Oftentimes it's not, but it could be. But whatever it is that gets you to act toward the true earth, that is what is important. And we talk about trust. Trust dictates your actions, not your feelings. You don't have to feel safe. Trust does not mean feeling safe. So some people think, I need to trust somebody. I need to feel safe. Well, those are two different things. Feeling safe comes from experience. Trust starts with zero experience. Trust is jumping off a cliff, believing, trusting that you will be taken care of, that you will be able to, walk across the ocean. That doesn't happen until you actually act in faith. You act based on trust. But you can be scared out of your mind and you can feel as though you're going to fall to your death. It's the action that matters. So that's what needs to shift. My ancestors understood that. Everybody's shamanic ancestors understood this. It's only been in the past 2,000 years that we have been programmed to live out of our head. That's why people live with their devices. They can't function without them because they live in their head. All right, so I see people envision 5D and act toward it. Then 5D will spread across the earth. So how does 5D manifest? First, understand that the 3D Ponzi scheme has ended. Now, when I say it's ended, it doesn't mean that you go, to your bank and your bank doesn't exist. I know this not because I read it somewhere, because I saw it and I experienced it when I left this reality and I went to a higher dimensional plane where I could see from time, outside of time. And anyway, long story short, here's what the earth is. The earth is a closed, experimental sphere. It is a dimension in and of itself. It is separated from the rest of the dimensional world. That is why extraterrestrials, when they show up, they act contrary to our third dimensional physics. That is why even scientists are coming to the conclusion that extraterrestrials are interdimensional or trans-dimensional beings, and that spaceships are actually something altogether different because they operate beyond third-dimensional physical laws. So the reason why that happens is because our dimension is the unique one, not theirs. Ours is different. And so our third dimensional world is a closed experiment. And what happened is that conscious beings from all over the multiverse, both physical and non-physical, came together. So outside of the third dimensional Earth, all conscious beings work together. All different species work together. There's no such thing as good aliens and bad aliens. That is a projection of your third dimensional experience where you have good people and bad people. That's a 3D Earth experience. Outside of that, all conscious beings love each other, know each other, and work together. On top of that, they know and remember that they are souls. So, somebody from the Pleiadians, for example, if they have a physical body, they actually know that they're inside of a body and that their essence is a soul that's beyond all of that. Human beings don't remember that, and this is the only place in the multiverse where that happens. So this world is a place where all of the civilizations and even beings in other dimensions, the gods, the guides, the archangels, they all came together and they said, okay, so let's build an experimental world where we can really gain strength in consciousness. And in order for that to happen, it has to be a very dense, very difficult world where there's a real risk of losing yourself in the negativity. And the whole point of it is to come here and rise above it. And so they created that. That's what this is. That means that you created it. Because right now you are simply living a third dimensional video game avatar that doesn't remember that there's a higher dimensional version of yourself that's playing a game. That's what's happening here. That's why when people die, they wake up and they're in another place. And they're surrounded by light beings and happiness. And because that's where they really are. You're not really here. You're just playing a video game, right? So why was that important? Because understand that the 3D Ponzi scheme has ended. So the video game, the third dimensional video game has come to an end. That means that the universe is no longer pumping energy into the video game. The video game has been unplugged. The video game has been deleted. And that's why reality is getting so weird. By the way, that is why we have things like the Mandela effect, where people remember different realities. Okay, that has to do with the video game has ended. It's over. Got it? So you must understand that. Why is that important? Because before that, it was important that you played the game. You had to play the game. And you had to do all the stuff, and you had to live out your karma, and you had to get attached to money and reputation and love and all the drama. You had to be attached to it because otherwise the game doesn't work. Just like your character, the rules for your video game character are, look out for the evil, then take the sword of destiny. That's what we did. That's over now. So people are knocking on your virtual reality glasses. Time to take the glasses off so you can drop all of it. So you start with understanding that. The game's over. Now, part of you is not going to like hearing that, but you have to accept that. Number 2, understand that shame, fear is programmed. We talked about that already. I've made a video about it. Go watch it so you can understand what shame really is, that shame doesn't even really exist. It's not an emotion. It is a program. It is a slave mentality matrix program. So that has ended as well, but you have to drop it. You have to choose to let go of it. So shame, fear is programmed. The fear that you have, the negativity that you feel, your need to feel like there are higher dimensional beings that are tricking you into manifesting into the third dimension and feeding off of your soul. That is a fear program that the elites use to control you. I could get into that. I really want to, but I don't have the time for that right now. Let's keep going. So understand that the shame, fear is a program. It's not who you are. It doesn't exist. Understand that only true soul, joy, desire exists. So you have to stop and sit with that. That means that nothing else exists. That means that banks don't exist, governments don't exist, reputation doesn't exist, being rich, being powerful, being popular, those things don't exist anymore. I'm old enough to remember when celebrities actually had real power. Like celebrities were a thing, and celebrities were like they were of course elites, but they were sort of like the royalty of the world, and they were able to live with all of that fame and everything, and it meant something. And look what's happening now. Look what's happening to celebrities now. They are falling apart. And we're seeing past the fairy tale, and we're seeing that these are people who are addicted to attention and fame, and it's destroying them. And they can no longer, stand in front of the world and have an opinion about something and have it mean anything. Nobody cares anymore. That's just one example. So understand that only true soul, joy, desire exists. That means that if you don't know what your soul wants, it means you're living in a false reality. Now, if you're living with your soul and you know what it is you truly want, you're going to feel like you're living in an alternate reality because your desire won't match with the outside world. And so that means that you've given up on the idea of trying to fit in to the outside world, and instead you want to experience the world that has been created within you. So in order for that to happen, the first thing you have to do is you have to understand and accept that the only thing that exists, the only true reality that exists, is the one that comes from your joys, from your deepest desires. So, number 4, make your number one priority to discover your true soul desire. I've got a book out there. You can find it on Amazon. It's called The Shamanic Secret Commandment to a Perfect Life. The Shamanic Secret Commandment to a Perfect Life. Go back and listen to that and write it down, and then go to wherever. But you find it on Amazon. It's a book that I wrote. If you master what's in that booklet, it's really just a booklet, then you'll know. If you still don't know what your desire is, make an appointment with me, and I guarantee you I can help you figure out what your desire is. Now you'd ask, well, why is it so difficult? Well, because your programming is continuously working to talk you out of it. So you have to be connected to that. That has to be more important than anything else. Just like religion says salvation is the only thing, God's word and accepting Jesus, having him in your heart. They make that the priority. And it works because it stimulates people's fear. And so people's number one goal in life is to avoid fear. So instead of avoiding fear, your number one goal has to be to find what gives you the greatest joy. So make that your number one priority. It's more important than anything else. If I had kids, which I don't, but if I had kids and they were, just coming out of high school, I would tell them, don't bother going to college. Don't bother trying to get a career. Don't bother trying to get rich. Only think about the things that make you happy. Go do that. That will turn into your career. Trust me. Just go, because you'll find a way to get the resources to do the things that you love. Now, if I had kids, it's easier to say it to them. But what happens if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and somebody says the most important thing is to go live your joy? It's a lot harder because you've been trained now. You're part of the whole matrix rat race. Pulling yourself out of it, after you've plugged into it is a lot harder to do. But it has to be the number one priority. Okay, number 5, write down your impossible 5D world of desires. So I spent 3 lines there telling you, really pounding it into you, that you have to know what your desires are. And they have to be the most important thing. That's the only thing that matters. Now that you're focusing on that and you realize that, now when you find out what your desires are, you have to write them down. Trust me, you have to do this because the next day you will forget. Why? Because your programming will talk you out of it. Trust me. So when you come to realize what your desires are, you will think, oh, this is so easy and so amazing and I'll never forget it. You'll wake up the next day, trust me, you'll go, that was stupid. I can't even remember what it was. I got to go to work and I got to go to the bank and I got to invest and I got to get a lottery ticket. You're going to go right back into it. So write down your impossible 5D world of desires. Number 6, make effort to reject the Ponzi scheme fear program. Now, once you figure out what your true soul desire is, the Ponzi scheme narrative is going to work like crazy to frighten you out of it, guilt you out of it, shame you out of it, talk you out of it, or greed you out of it, appeal to your greed. Oh, if you just do this, you'll make X amount of money. If you have X amount of money, you'll be happy. I mean, listen, that part of me is still alive within me. I understand that. I'm no different than you. So what I'm telling you is what I have to do myself as well. So what was it that I just said? So make the effort to reject the Ponzi scheme fear program. So you have to make that a life path. That's why my ancestors said those who die in battle go to Valhalla. Battle, life and death battle, is very frightening. I mean, there isn't anything more frightening than actually going and walking onto the battlefield and choosing to go to battle, knowing that there's this big giant Scythian out there with a curved sword that's trying to chop your head off. Nothing more frightening. So you have to, it takes everything to go and do that, to put your life on the line. You are putting your life on the line. You will have to die to your third dimensional identity and your third dimensional attachments. Your fear program, you're going to have to die to that. You're going to have to fight against it. And that won't work if you don't make your number one priority to experience your greatest joy. So make effort to reject the Ponzi scheme fear program. Again, I told you if I had kids, I would basically tell them that. Don't go to college. Don't try and get a career. Don't try and get a degree. Don't try and do all that unless that's what makes you happy. Otherwise, go play tiddlywinks or go surfing or become a dancer or become a painter or a potter or a rap artist or whatever the heck makes you happy. Whatever the hell that is, you go and plant gardens and build temples. I don't care what it is, as long as it makes you happy. Go figure it out and do it yourself. Get your hands dirty and figure it out. Don't waste your time. By the way, there's a whole bunch of people who are coming out of college realizing that their college degrees are meaningless. They're trying to go get jobs and people are asking, what real experience do you have? Well, nothing. I just came out of college. Well, then you can start as an unpaid intern. So it's no matter how you look at it. But you only do that if you're trying to jump into some fear-based Ponzi scheme. So get rid of it. Just drop it. I'm telling you, it won't save you. All right, fully commit to achieving your 5D earth desires. I pretty much said that. Take daily fearless action towards your desires. You're going to have to, every day. Here's what I do, and I'm telling you this from experience. It's not as bad now, but there was a time, and has been throughout the years, where I've gotten ideas for videos, for teachings, for video series. And my shame kicked in, and I felt so guilty and stupid and wrong and frightened that I would want to just go hide in bed and put the covers over and eat Cheetos all day. But instead, I would make a list. And I would make a list of, okay, I got to make an outline for the video. I got to do video number 1. I got to do video number 2. I got to go make a website. I then have to make a video advertising it, and I have to put it on my YouTube channel. And I would sometimes only get through 1 step a day, because that's all that I could tolerate. The fear and the shame and the embarrassment and all of that was so intense. I mean, there was no reason for it. Nobody cares. There was nobody looking over me. Nobody cared. It was just my Ponzi scheme fear program inside of me. So I had a list, and I would check off the list. And I made it simple, and I would go, you know what? I'm not going to think about this. I'm just going to do number 3. I'll make the video and upload it to YouTube. All right, that's number 3. And then I'm going to go off and do something fun and just forget about it. So fully commit to achieving your 5D Earth desires. Take daily fearless action towards them. Make a list. Number 9, know that your 3D program will try to stop you. Number 10, know you may experience fear, doubt, and anxiety. Stop trying to get rid of your negative feelings. That's all they are. They're just negative feelings that have been programmed into you to keep you from doing what you're supposed to do. The people who died in battle didn't walk onto the battlefield because they completely conquered their fear. No, they just had the knowledge to know that if I just walk on the battlefield, I'll go to Valhalla, whether I survive or not. So I'm just going to go do it, no matter how frightened I am. You have to do it. Don't ask me how to get over your fear. It's a meaningless question. Don't ask me how to get over your anxiety. Don't ask me how to get over your pain, I feel for you. I've had all of those feelings as well. The only thing that matters is that you take action, whether you feel like it or not. Some days you're going to feel full of bravery and you can go do it. And other days you're going to want to end yourself. But you do what the list says, and you just do it. Okay, so get over trying to make the feelings go away. Feelings will eventually change after you've taken the action. Just like going to the gym. It was like trying to think yourself big muscles. Well, muscles are going to come when you go to the gym every day, regardless of how you feel. And then, 6 months later, you're going to go, oh my God, look at that. That's from the actions that you take, not from the feelings or the thoughts. Okay. Accept that many people will reject you. This is the hardest part. The people who are stuck in the program are going to want to bring you to their side. And if you are living free, you will trigger them. They will be jealous of you, and they will be frightened of you because they don't want to do what you're doing because it's too frightening to them, because they trust the fear. And they also know that if they do what you're doing, they're going to have to walk away from everything and everybody that they've ever known. So they're going to come after you. So be prepared. You may lose all of your friends. You may lose your spouse, your girlfriend. You may lose everything. I've lost everything numerous times throughout my life. I don't have time to give you all the details, but every time that's happened, my life has gotten better. I start over. I go after what I want. My life gets better. So be grateful. But just know that might happen. So you can't let that stop you. Use higher dimensional energy hacks to open the dimensional door. All right, so the 5D world is, for lack of a better word, is a higher dimensional frequency. So we open that door when we do the live guided meditations, when we envision the fantastical, unbelievable world that we want. We open a dimensional doorway. Now that takes energy. So you need Well, maybe you don't. I need energy hacks. I need higher dimensional energy hacks to be able to open that portal. Use higher dimensional energy tools to give you power to act. This is one of the best hacks there is. Now, by yourself, if you're going from the three-dimensional Ponzi scheme fear program into 5D wonderfulness, it's going to be extremely challenging and very difficult because it takes power. The Ponzi scheme is about taking your power away. People are right when they say that there are archons siphoning off of their energy. The archons aren't spiritual, they're humans. Archon just means rulers. So you're absolutely right. The rulers are using programs, hypnosis, and technology to siphon your energy so that you won't be able to take any action. So you need energy hacks that will give you power, that will give you bravery. Because when you feel that energy, you'll get addicted to it. There might be a struggle within you, but the addiction to the power of the higher dimension will make you act towards it. So use this. These hacks are there for you to use. I can show you how to do it. All right, so use higher dimensional energy tools to give you power to act. How to get these 5D energy hacks? First one is CE5 and interdimensional meditation. CE5 is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which means human-initiated communication with higher dimensional beings. Why do you need to do this? Because you need higher dimensional energy to get to a higher dimensional place. When you communicate with these beings, when they beam down and are physically in your room, even if you don't see them, the energy affects you. When they telepathically connect to you, when you see them in the sky, that will shift your energy. You will have more energy. Now, you'll lose it if you don't keep doing it because it's temporary, because they're lending you their energy. So it's the opposite of what people fear. Higher dimensional beings aren't trying to take your energy, they're trying to give it to you. But it doesn't last forever because you're a third dimensional being. But it can give you a boost so that you can then have a hack to awaken and take action. So this is the great thing about CE5. You don't have to, I do it on my channel, but you can do it on your own. Just Google CE5 protocols. Do it yourself. We do a thing here on this channel called interdimensional meditation. And that is a deeper version, a meditative version, where you go deeper into this interdimensional communication and you really connect on a very deep level to these beings. By the way, this has been going on for thousands of years. The Maoshan Taoists, the Shang Qing Taoists, that's how it all started. Tantric yogis do it. Shamans do it. This is why these people are looked upon as, ooh, because they leave this dimension. Well, now's the time to do that. This will give you an energy hack, which will give you the awakening and the ability to move forward towards this new higher dimensional world. The 12 steps to 5D. I don't talk about this enough. This is free. Go onto my channel and go to the playlist for 12 steps to 5D. Do them in order. If you qualify, as the majority of you do, actually go to a 12-step program. Get a sponsor, work the steps. You'll find out when you do it why it's so important to being able to take action on your 5D reality. Oops, that's not what I want. Do the channeled Maoshan energy practices. So this is something, I'm the only one that I know of that's teaching this. There's two websites here, maoshan.thunderwizard.com and thunderwizard.com. So if you go to thunderwizard.com, click on shop, and you will see these things. Scroll to where it says Maoshan Summoning the Immortals if you're brand new. Do that one. I give that one to you because it's cheap. It's almost free. You will have an experience. And the difference between this and CE5 is that higher dimensional beings are giving you their energy, but that fades. But when you have a practice that you are able to tap into it and release it from within, you have the power now. That's why these practices are so important and why you have to do them every day. That's why this is so important. So start with that one. You can go to Summoning the Immortals, and or look to the right, you see Celestial Qigong, the foundation of Maoshan energy work. That one is also great for beginners. It's great for advanced people. It's sort of like, you take vitamin C, right? Vitamin C is like, we're going to go to the store and get vitamins. Well, the one that's the major one you get is vitamin C. So Celestial Qigong is that. It's like the vitamin C of energy practice. It'll take care of all of the issues and keep you healthy and safe and open everything up and open the meridians. It's a great place to start if you're ready to tap into that energy hack. And then you see these other 5 element practices. Okay, so those are about a higher harmonic of the 5 dimensions. Why do you need the 5 elements? You have 5 emotions. You have 5 internal organs. Your internal organs are what allow you to live. Fear-based, the reason why the Ponzi scheme deals in fear and shame is because when you're in shame, all of the blood leaves the center of your body and goes to the extremities, your hands and your feet. All of the blood leaves your critical thinking centers of your brain and goes to the survival centers. As long as somebody's living in fear and in stress, they can't think clearly and their body starts to break down because the organs can't keep you alive. Psychologically, you can't connect to your emotions. If you can't connect to your emotions, your 5 organs will fail and kill you, starting with the heart. Heart disease is the biggest killer. Here are the 3 things. I just found this out. I'm not making this up. This is actually documented in official medical documents all over the world. The number 1 killer is heart disease. The second killer is, why can't I remember the second one? I can't remember what the second one is. But the third one, the third most killer that kills people is medical intervention. It's medicine. When you go to the hospital, when you take drugs that the doctor prescribes. That's the third biggest killer, going and trying to get healthy through modern medicine. Listen, I got nothing against hospitals. You get a broken bone. I mean, I've had operations that, only hospitals can do. But outside of that, me personally, speaking for myself, don't take this as advice. I don't want anything to do with any of them. So the 5 elements are the 5 organs. And if you don't have blood going to the 5 organs, it is guaranteed that you will eventually get sick and die. The 5 emotions bring that back. When you work through the 5 emotions, when you cleanse them, and they work through each other, they complement each other, they cleanse each other, they empower each other. So the 5 element practices are exactly that. They will save your life, number 1, but they are also a 5D hack that will take you to a higher frequency. So this can be found here at maoshan.thunderwizard.com and at the shop, thunderwizard.com, as you see right here. Okay, and then you can also go to thunderwizard.com and click on memberships. And when you do, you will see Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong. Do that. Just go check it out. That will do far more. Anyway, it's a huge basic thing that will help you. Now, there is a practice that I think everybody should do because it is the portal to the 5th dimensional world, and that is this, the Dark Warrior of the North. That can be found at maoshan.thunderwizard.com and also in the shop at thunderwizard.com. Do this practice no matter where you're at. If you're a beginner or you're advanced, do it, because it will it will open you up to a new reality. It is the fifth dimension. And the powers, the intelligences behind this practice that you will connect to will actually begin showing you in your mind. You'll be able to see the new world. Don't believe me? Do it and find out. That's what I say to everybody. You don't think I'm telling the truth about this Maoshan stuff? Prove me wrong by doing it. If you're brand new, go and do the summoning the immortals. If you don't feel anything, then you know I'm full of crap. You can stop watching the channel. If you feel the energy, then you know I'm telling you the truth. Trust me, you're going to feel something. And all right, so the tortoise and snake practice to activate the earth portal. Number 7, energy practices for activating the navel portal. The navel is being activated. We're in a 3-phase shift. The first phase is the navel center is being activated to a higher frequency. So the seed people are able to see the new world because their navel center is shifting to a higher frequency. The navel is important. It's where you store all of your energy, all of your life force energy. It's where your identity is. It's where your unconscious is. And then when you get beyond that, it is the godlike power that you have to create reality. So we're in that phase now where people are waking up to that. We need a hack to be able to get to it. I have one. And it is called the Hands of Infinity. You can find it here at maoshan.thunderwizard.com. Then we do the energy practice for activating the heart portal. I haven't uploaded that one yet, but that one will open up the heart. The navel gives you the ability to avoid calamity, to avoid evil, to avoid disease, insanity. It will give you the ability to avoid all that stuff. The heart center will give you the power to repel it. You can repel evil when you truly open up the heart center on a higher activation frequency. That's coming soon. When you open up the third dantian at the higher frequency, you now have the power to destroy evil, to destroy evil spirits. That's where this comes from. This destroys evil spirits. This protects you from evil spirits. Your navel helps you to avoid it. You have to go in order. Don't ask me about the third one if you haven't done 1 or 2. Okay? Do it in order. All of that is there for you here at maoshan.thunderwizard.com. The other stuff, thunderwizard.com. If you're confused and you don't know where to start, message me. Be specific so I know what you're talking about. Because if you just throw in what should I do, I'm going to go, what do you mean? Get specific, and then I can help you. But I will help anybody. I look at all of the comments and I respond to all the ones that are respectful and that I like. All right, so that's it. My friends, the fight is over. We have achieved it. We have achieved 5D. It's now just a matter of making the transition, and we still have a lot of work left to do. I am here to do this alongside you. Anyway, that's it for now, my friends. I love you all. Please be very good to yourselves. I will see you all very, very soon.